Good morning, ASEAN. Fresh up your world, your thought, your idea with us every day. I am Nirasha Malisaklami.
And I'm Rina Jungberse. It's Friday, the 5th of July. What do we have, Kun Nirasha?
So today we have the latest development of the situation in Egypt, but not on the Egyptian side, on the Thai side, as the Thai Foreign Ministry yesterday said that it is concerned about the situation in the Egypt following a military move toppling Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi. Foreign Ministry Deputy Spokesperson Chakrit Siwali said that the country is worried about the situation in Egypt following the ouster of the President Morsi by military action. He said that the Thai Foreign Ministry will soon declare its stance on the events in Egypt and urged the North African country to solve its political problem through the democratic means, adding that there is no evacuation plan for Thais living in Egypt. Although hundreds of Thai, including students, live in Egypt, Chakrit said that the Thai embassy has not yet announced evacuation plan for Thai nationals, as the situation is not yet indicating the likelihood of bloodshed. However, the ministry has kept contact with the Thai Association and Thai students, advising them to stay home with enough food, water and cash in case of any emergency. Meanwhile, Thailand's public and private sectors are monitoring the political turmoil in Egypt for signs that it could escalate into a crisis that would jack up oil prices and create more risks for the global economy, but hold high hopes that the unrest will be brief. Where Egypt's tens of thousands of Egyptians amassed in Tahrir Square on Thursday for a second night of celebrations after the ouster of Islamist President Mohamed Morsi by the powerful military following popular protests.
Still following the effects of the earthquake in Indonesia, as rescue operations have continued in Indonesia's Sumatra as the earthquake death toll rose to 30 yesterday. An Indonesian National Disaster and Mitigation Agency spokesperson said 12 people were still missing and more than 200 had been injured. Indonesian soldiers have set up tents, makeshift hospital and kitchen for those who have been left homeless. Electricity supplies are slowly returning to normal in the quake-hit zone, but communication is still patchy. Authorities said the earthquake has destroyed more than 1,500 houses and buildings in central Aceh province. In 2004, Aceh was hit by a massive undersea earthquake that triggered a tsunami, which left as many as 170,000 dead or missing. The archipelago is hit by frequent earthquakes as Indonesia lies on an area of intense seismic activity where a number of tectonic plates collide.
And now let's update the situation in Cambodia. Since the general election is coming soon, lawmakers and human rights activists are pushing for a cut in the more than $70 million in annual US aid to Cambodia if its Prime Minister Hun Sen extends his 28-year rule in an unfair elections this month. In the run-up to the July 28th elections, opposition lawmakers were expelled from parliament for merging parties to contest the vote. The exiled leader Sam Rainsy has been excluded from the election because of his criminal conviction on charges that are widely regarded as being politically motivated. The State Department has said that the exclusion of Rainsy calls into questions that the legitimacy of Cambodia's democratic process. There are also doubts over the neutrality of the Election Commission and the composition of voter rolls. Lawmakers from both the House and Senate are introducing resolutions seeking to reduce aid, particularly direct assistance to the government, if the State Department does not judge the election to be credible and competitive. The resolutions also call for Washington to urge international financial institutions that pour hundreds of millions into Cambodian development, such as the Asian Development Bank, to do the same thing. Cambodian government spokesman declined to comment about the prospect, as ruling party lawmaker Che Woon said that he had no idea what aid the US gives, but they did help a lot for the opposition party.
Myanmar is now increasingly attracting tourists as the tour companies all over the world have already started market promotion of tour services for Myanmar trips. Well, apart from Asia, tour travel from the United States and Europe are now selling tour schedules to Myanmar. Some companies have started Myanmar tour only this year. Sales Director Stig Elling of Star Tour, which is the first sales of tour schedule for Myanmar, said that Myanmar is a new tour destination. It is also a new tour schedule for those who are wishing to explore new experiences, and Myanmar is full of attractions. Star Tour has now started inviting travelers around the world to visit Myanmar in the coming winter season. The company expects 400 to 500 foreign tourists in Myanmar. A travel company, Passports, which is based in California, is arranging 4 Southeast Asia tours, including Myanmar. In its arranged schedule, 5 days will be spent in Vietnam, 3 in Cambodia, and 4 days each in Thailand and Myanmar. Since 2011, tourists around the world have increased interest to visit Myanmar and political changes going on. For the first time, tourist arrivals to Myanmar exceeded 1 million in 2012.
And now we have our special reports from the stars on the low-cost airlines budget carriers.
Budget airline travelers are looking forward to the completion of the KLIA-2 to alleviate the issue of overcrowding in the existing low-cost carrier terminal, or LCCT. A site visit by the Star on Monday found the LCCT congested, with private vehicles, buses and taxis making a beeline into the budget airport. Once inside, the terminal is a hive of activity as travelers move about on their business, and the lack of seats available force many to sit along the walkway or on their luggage. Graduate Iana Olivia claims her family of 9 missed a flight back to Sabah due to the large crowd at the check-in counters.
Sebab saya pun pernah pengalaman tidur dekat airport banyak kali. Kita geram duduk kat luar macam pengemis lah. Sebab dia dah sediakan dekat kerusi banyak, tapi tak boleh nak stay lah.
The lack of parking spaces is a headache for the public visiting LCCT. Drivers end up parking their vehicles indiscriminately, and this leads to congestion at the airport. Government servant GT Robin says the amount of cars that flood LCCT shows that there is a problem with overcrowding in terms of both vehicles and people. Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad recently announced that the new completion date for KLIA-2 would be April 30th next year. The KLIA-2 project has been delayed twice, first targeted for completion in April 2012, before being pushed forward to June 28 this year.
Indonesia and South Korea have agreed on bureaucratic reform. Come back for that story after the break. The governments of Indonesia and South Korea have agreed yesterday to sign an agreement on bureaucratic reform and establishment of e-government, which is a move expected to help boost the investment climate in Southeast Asia's largest nation. The signing was witnessed by Indonesian Vice President Budiono at the presidential office. Budiono said after the signing that bureaucratic reform is a precondition for the progress of a nation, as poor bureaucracy remains one of the bottlenecks for investment in the country. He added that the key to keeping moving ahead sustainably is to reform the way the government is run. Aswar Abu Bakar, Minister for Bureaucratic Reform, said that under the agreement, Indonesia and South Korea agreed to collaborate on public administration, which stressed the importance of creating a more transparent, innovative, and accountable government. Indonesia has received 2 credit rating upgrades to investment grade recently by rating agencies Moody's and Fitch, prompting global fund managers to allocate more funds to the country. Yoo Jung-bok, Minister of Security and Public Administration of South Korea, said that hopefully with this signing, the effort to reform bureaucracy in Indonesia can be speeded up so Indonesia and South Korea can jointly benefit from it in the future. According to the United Nations surveys on e-government development and electronic participation indices in 2010 and 2012, South Korea was ranked first out of 192 UN member countries.
And Singaporean Foreign Affairs and Law Minister K. Shanmugam said that harmonizing legal standards, strengthening legal frameworks are important components of ASEAN integration. Speaking at a conference yesterday, he stressed the regional group must continue its integration and community building efforts in order to strengthen its resilience and competitiveness. One of the issues discussed was ASEAN's external legal relations as the regional group develops a range of agreements with other countries. Shanmugam said ASEAN senior law officials have also been working on various legal integration initiatives. This includes harmonizing the laws of various member states on arbitration and on the international sale of goods. He said that these efforts are important for ASEAN as the harmonization of legal rules can help to remove uncertainty, reduce costs, generate greater business confidence, and ultimately advance ASEAN community building goals. He added that a stronger unified ASEAN will remain influential as it serves as a neutral platform for major powers to engage the regions and each other in constructive ways. He also alerted China for showing a serious intent to engage ASEAN, as China announced a whole slew of initiatives which sometimes doesn't get as much attention as it should about putting in more money on the platform that would promote more physical integration and regional infrastructure development, working with ASEAN on maritime cooperation, working with ASEAN to fund a whole series of new projects to upgrade the China-ASEAN FTA, and so on. However, the conference was attended by some 160 participants from the region.
Filipino activists marched towards the U.S. Embassy yesterday, marking Philippine-U.S. Friendship Day by rejecting plans to grant U.S. troops access to a proposed new naval base. Visits by the U.S. military undermines Philippine sovereignty, said that around 300 members of right groups marched on the streets, carrying placards with slogans like U.S. troops out now. Bagong Alyansang Bakabayan, New Patriotic Alliance, said that while they honor the Filipino solidarity with the American people who marked their independence on July 4th, they reject special relations between the two allied states, calling it one-sided and favoring the United States. They accuse Washington of violating domestic laws, dumping toxic waste, harming the country's natural resources, and meddling in Manila's internal affairs. Senior Navy officials said the Philippine military has revived plans to build new air and naval bases at Subic Bay, a former U.S. naval base that American forces could use to counter China's creeping presence in the disputed South China Sea. The proposed bases in the Philippines, a close U.S. ally, coincides with a resurgence of U.S. warships, planes, and personnel in the region as Washington turns its attention to a newly assertive China and shifts its foreign, economic, and security policy towards Asia. Subic Bay used to host the largest U.S. military installation in Southeast Asia. There is no plan to allow the United States to rebuild its old bases, a sensitive issue in the Philippines where a nationalist backlash against the U.S. military helped lead to a 1992 closure of Subic and Clark Air Base. Since then, American warships and planes have been allowed to visit the Philippines for maintenance and refueling. New Philippine air and naval bases, however, would give visiting U.S. warships more security to launch operations in the South China Sea and elsewhere in Southeast Asia. A visiting forces agreement ratified by the Philippine Senate in 1999 allows U.S. forces full access to Philippine bases. Friction over the South China Sea, one of the world's most important waterways, has surged as China uses its growing naval might to more forcefully assert its vast claims over the oil and gas-rich sea. raising fears of a military clash. Brunei, Malaysia, Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam has overlapping claims with China.
And in Urbanista today, we're going to have a look at a library cafe that opens 24 hours for the students in the center of Bangkok. In Urbanista, the cafe called Too Fast to Sleep.
สวัสดีครับ and welcome to Urbanista that will keep you updated with what's happening around Bangkok and the metropolises within ASEAN region, from social lives to cultural corners, and looking around to find a cool place to stay overnight in Bangkok. For both working and studying, I came across a warm atmosphere cafe that opens 24 hours. It is officially known as Too Fast to Sleep, located just right at the center of the city. On King Rama IV Road, near the entrance of MRT MYANMAR station, is the location of a popular library cafe, Too Fast to Sleep. With a unique architectural style, the cafe finds it easy to attract all eyes of passers-by. Cafe manager Ekachai Klong Arom shared with Urbanista that the founders of the cafe would like to have a coffee shop that opens 24 hours, where office workers and college students can spend time working or doing homework as long as they want. Therefore, Too Fast to Sleep is built to cater to the needs of these groups of people. According to the manager, the two-story cafe offers 5 different zones with different styles. The dairy zone on the first floor serves fresh milk, milk tea, and now the milk-related menu. While next to it is the living room zone, where customers can enjoy a variety of Italian food in a warm atmosphere. The secret chamber is reserved for adults only, as it serves good wines from around the world. On the second floor, the cafe balcony allows visitors to spend a good time relaxing, looking outside, and reading books. The highlight would be the library zone that makes customers feel that they are in a big library surrounded by hundreds of books. The design of the coffee cafe is intended to give customers a warm library atmosphere. The manager said they will feel like they are in a library, but they can eat, chat with friends, or even sleep overnight. Providing free internet access and power facilities, the cafe is intended to attract office workers from a lot of office buildings around the area. However, since the shop is located opposite to a university, 90% of its customers are college students. So far, the manager said that Too Fast to Sleep has gained a huge popularity and will try to improve its service in order to meet customers' demands. The cafe is now constructing a bakery zone, expecting to be able to welcome around 400 and 500 customers at a time after the completion. If you would like to spend your time in a calm atmosphere at the cafe, make sure that you don't visit the place during the busy period, which is 3 to 6 p.m. on the working days. According to the manager, the weekends are best for family time. And that's it for today's edition of Urbanista. You can follow me again every Friday. For today, thanks for joining me. I am Sathapat Pathong. We'll see you next week.
And that's all the time we have for today. See you again, same time, same place, same channel.
Yeah, and thank you so much for watching. And Weena Jongprasit.
And I am Nirasha Malisak. Let me have a great weekend. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ